organizations, including League of Women's Voters, Polk County, NAACP, Lakeland Branch, and Polk County Voters League. My name is Phillip Walker, and I'll be your moderator for the evening. Please note that this particular event, of course, is being recorded by, of course, Polk County Voters League. We're very grateful, I must say, to the Coleman-Bush building for allowing us to use this facility for such a time as this. Please note this, please. Lakeland City Commissioners are elected to set policy. I want you to understand that. Not only the City Commission, but the mayor. They set policy for Lakeland's municipal government on many issues, including developing and enacting city policy, balancing the city budget, determining tax rates, and managing local issues such as growth, transportation, and utilities. The nonpartisan position requires involvement, of course, as it will, in various committees or subcommittees, and serving in a part-time capacity for a 4-year term. Before introducing the commission candidates here with us tonight, just a few housekeeping notes that have already been shared before, but we want to reiterate them, please. Members of the audience and candidates are asked to mute their phones for the duration of this particular forum. Secondly, members of the audience are asked to hold all applause until the closing statement, so as not to interrupt the flow of the forum and to allow for as many questions to be asked. Those that were here, many of you were, the last forum with the mayoral candidates, a lot of the questions that came from the audience were not asked. So most of the questions that I'll be asking again would be some would be redundant, because those questions would be asked of the candidates here as well. Let me say City Government 101. The mayor and the city commission serve as a pleasure to the citizens of the city, but they only get one vote. The mayor has no more vote than the other commissioners who serve in the commission. For that reason, some of the questions that were asked before, I may not ask the questions again that you heard, may not get to them because I want to get more questions from the audience. Is that okay with you all? Audience questions will come up a little more, okay? So the candidates, of course, that we have for the city commission race with us tonight are District C Southwest, Dennis Odisho, Ashely Troutman, and we call District D Southeast, Mike Musick and Kim Marie Noble. Please remember that the views expressed are those of the candidates, not the sponsoring organizations that you see that are bringing on this forum tonight, and the sponsorship of the forum is not an endorsement of any candidate as such. Let's remind you of the rules again. Each candidate will have 1 minute to provide a self-introduction opening statement. This will be followed by a series of questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the question. There will be no rebuttal comments from candidates. The forum will conclude with each candidate providing a 1 minute closing statement. A yellow warning sign will be shown when 20 seconds remain, and a red stop sign will be shown when the candidate's time is up. The candidates are not been provided the questions, have not been provided the questions, even though some may have heard some of the questions coming in as they did. Questions will be rotated so that a different candidate answers first each time. We thank each of the candidates for being with us tonight. Thank you for coming. We ask all forum candidates to speak only for themselves and not to provide information about or insight into their opponents. We look to the candidates to help us understand, again, their policy, the policies that you will set if elected to your position, problem-solving skills and values so that we can make better choices as informed voters. So, let's begin. I must start with an icebreaker, just to kind of get the unnerving issue out of the way. My question is, as an icebreaker to you, Mr. Odisho, would be, what are the most important challenges facing our city? What are the most important challenges facing our city? how do you propose to address them?
Introduction.
I think two of them are affordable housing and jobs. We've got 5 universities, yet nowhere for these kids to go work. If you want to make money and have a 6-figure salary and a 401k and health and dental, you've got to go to Tampa, Orlando. It's inexcusable. As far as as far as the affordability issue goes, it's a problem. You know, I'm a capitalist. I believe in free markets, but I also believe in helping out our neighbors. It's very important, and as we've seen in the last 2-3 years, that gap is getting bigger and bigger, and we have the opportunity to do something about it. One of the stances I lean on is development, right? And I've taken a lot of heat for this stance, but these developers have an opportunity to do right by us with workforce, affordable senior housing. There's a path to helping people, and I think we need to look not only inside but outside. Lean on the subject matter experts, see what other cities are doing, and I think it's possible.
Thank you, sir. Now, let me ask the audience to forgive me and the candidates as well. I want to make sure you had the unnervingness out of the way, but I forgot to actually introduce yourselves. But we're going to continue this on, and you come back and introduce yourself, okay? Again, this icebreaker. One of the most important challenges, Mr. Troutman, again, for facing our city, how do you propose to address them?
I believe some of the important challenges that the city is facing, to Mr. Odisho's point, does center around jobs and the availability of high-quality, high-skilled jobs that we need to bring into our community. How do I propose changing that? Is by working closely in alignment with the city manager as he works closely with the LEDC and carving out our unique perspective that we have, or position that we have here on the I-4 corridor as a part of the high-tech corridor. Making sure that we have our own unique carved out position in the tech industry, so we can create more jobs that are higher paying, higher skilled, to raise the household incomes that we have in our community. Secondly, we have to make some hard decisions in the next 4 years around how do we spend our dollars from the budget. Police and fire are going to, their needs are going to continue to increase as our community continues to grow. How do we strike a balance between public safety and also the need for keeping our tax base low?
Thank you, sir. Moving right along, Ms. Kelvin. Again, as an icebreaker, one of the most important challenges facing our city, and how do you propose to, of course, address them?
Well, I know personally, is affordability. That seems to be the issue when I speak to people. I work in a restaurant, I worked in one for 18 years. Affordability is an issue here. We love it. We love our city. We love the development that's happening. But I don't want to have to leave because I can't afford my apartment any longer. I've had to negotiate with my landlady to stay where I'm living. I know I'm not the only one. So affordability, to me, is the biggest issue. I know that we are having more industries, more versatility in industries coming here so that we have better paid jobs. I would like to work with the people that have to work 2 or 3 jobs to make a living, to see how else we can help them.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Musick, same question again. As an icebreaker, one of the most important challenges facing our city, of course, and how do you propose to address it?
Thank you, and I do believe there's a common thread here, and it is a lot of affordability, right? I've got kids that are approximately 23, 24, and 25 years old. Actually, that's incorrect, right? It's in Sweetheart, 24, 25, 26. Anyway, back to back to back to back. You know, and I want them to be here and live here, and it is expensive. It's expensive, and if you go down and you buy a hamburger, it's more expensive than it was last year. And we have a very complex city, right? We have our own power. We have our own airport. We have our own water and sewer. And that's what makes us amazing. That's why people want to live here. And you go nationwide, it's affordability. It isn't just Lakeland, Florida. So what do? We diversify. We have construction. We have high tech. We have trades. And we diversify as much as we can to the best of our ability and try to pay the best wage we can.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Hold that mic. Of course, you gotta introduce yourself. And we'll work back this way to get back to number one, so I can be on task as I should. All right? By way of introduction, please introduce yourself, and we'll move down the line.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mike Musick. I'm currently the commissioner, and am excited for the opportunity to be here today. On a personal note, if I get a little bit loopy or sidetracked, I'm about 4 hours out of anesthesia. I had to have surgery this morning, but knew that this was too important to not be here. So please watch me as I run down the tracks a little bit. I apologize, but I love the city. I've been here for 48 years. My parents moved here from Pennsylvania so my dad could be an educator. My wife is an educator. I'm currently working on her PhD in nursing education. She was a labor and delivery nurse. I have a son that works with me in the trades. I have a son that's going to chiropractic school. And I have a daughter that just finished up her master's in social work. So we are a family that has different things and different desires, and I want to work to make the city of Lakeland the best it can, and I love this city. And if you love this city, that's why you're up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Thank you. Thank you, NAACP Lakeland and the League of Women Voters, Polk County. Thank you for being here, Mike. I know it was awesome that you're here. Kim Marie Noble. I've been here for 18 years, and you'll find me at Lakeside Chili's. I've been there that long as well. I am a single mother, working 3 jobs to try to make ends meet. I love this city. I want to stay here, and I want to make sure that people that may be in my situation have a seat and a say on the commission to help make the decisions that are affecting all of us, short-term, long-term, and here we are. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Troutman?
Ashely Troutman, many of you have seen my face quite often in this community. I was born and raised here. I've been here all my life, but I've also served in this community for the past 22 years, coaching youth basketball down at Simpson Park Community Center, all the way up to sitting on the dais with our current mayor and the city commission, setting policy around the Lakeland Electric Utility. But this campaign is not about what I have done. This campaign is not about what Lakeland is and what it used to be, but it's also about what it can be and what it can become. And what it can become is a city that has risen all the tides of the boats around it and set household incomes at a rate that is comparable to our four competitors. It can become a city that has an enhanced quality of life, and it can become a community where it is affordable, where all our seniors, but also our young families and our young professionals has a runway towards prosperity. I'm Ashely Troutman. I would love your vote on November 4th.
Thanks, Ash. I'm Dennis Odisho. I've known Ashely for about 4 years. Both of us have served on the board of directors for Lakeland Regional Health. And one of the main reasons I'm running is because in the last 5-6 years, the division that the political parties have pulled us so far apart. I mean, it's dividing neighbors, families, friends, and I think we can do better, right? I respect my opponent. He's a personal friend of mine. And I think that, just being here and showing up and showing people that we can differ and we agree on a lot of stuff. But we're not going to get nasty, right? Because we're facing a critical juncture in the city's history. Right now, we're either going to be Lakeland and maintain our culture and our identity, or we're going to become like Brandon and Riverview. And if any of you have driven down 60 lately, there's nowhere to rally. There is no culture. There is no identity. But we have some of the greatest people here. In the last 10 years, you have embraced me like family. And my only blood relative in the state of Florida for the last 21 years has been my son. So I want to be part of your family. If it's important to you, it's important to me.
Thank you, sir. Now that we're getting back on track here, we're making sure we stick with the script. Our first question deal with what I've heard many of you have already said about affordability. And that question is, first to you, Mr. Odisho, what is your plan to address the rising cost of housing for both renters and potential homeowners? And how will you work with local developers and community organizations to make housing more accessible for all Lakeland residents?
Right. So I'm a construction executive. I started at the age of 18 as a laborer in Northwest Indiana, building bridges, roads. I even cleaned out slag from the blast furnace at U.S. Steel in Gary, Indiana. So I understand from cradle to grave the methods of building. If we use different means and methods, materials, constructability, we can bring construction costs down significantly. We can also work with developers doing a P3, which is a public-private partnership to help offset some of the costs that would typically fall on our behalf. So there's a plan here. It can be done. It's been done in other municipalities, and we need to start, again, thinking outside of the box.
Same question, Mr. Troutman, I'll repeat it for you. What is your plan to address the rising cost of housing for both renters and potential homeowners? And how will you work with local developers and community organizations to make housing more accessible for all Lakeland residents?
I believe the first place that we have to start is by taking a look at our land use codes. So working closely with the city planning department and making sure that our land use codes give way to a variety of housing opportunities that we may need in our city. Also working closely with the professionals in the marketplace that can dictate, or not dictate, but tell us what is the type of housing inventory that we may need to start providing in this city. We may be at capacity right now for apartment living, but is there another type of housing units that we can bring on board or bring online that may be more attractive and may give those opportunities for those folks that need a place to live. So starting with the planning department, understanding what the land use codes are, and making sure we have changes to those codes if we need to make those effective changes.
Thank you, Mr. Troutman. Ms. Kim, again, I'll repeat the question for you. What is your plan to address the rising cost of housing for both renters and potential homeowners? And how will you work with the local developers and community organizations to make housing more accessible for all Lakeland residents?
So I know here in Lakeland we do have quite a few plans. We do have the Housing Authority that we work with. Unfortunately, we have 1,700 families on a wait list for affordable housing. One thing that I read today that they've done in other cities is convert existing buildings, like hotels, into affordable housing. I know Imperial Swan is empty most of the time. There's a hotel right by I-4 with a delicious restaurant in it, very least, but they're not using it as a hotel. These are things that we could possibly do to create affordable housing now, because those units that we do have coming online, they're not there yet, and they're still not going to address the people that are on the waiting list currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Ms. Musick, same question. Should I repeat it for you?
No, I'm good, thank you. You know, it's a little bit of a catch-22, because what we need is, sometimes we need more, and by having more, it can help drop the price of apartments, of single-family homes, of workforce housing. But by having that, what do we have? We have more people, we have more cars on the road. So it's a difficult scenario to wrap around and put into one bag and say, here's the fix. But I do think a lot of it is, and it can become a difficult word, but it's incentives. Why do we not have some of the things we have? Is because it's not an economic model that works for companies that provide workforce housing or apartments at certain levels. And that's a very difficult thing. So as they come in to look to see, can I work in this area, it goes back to the land development code. Are there areas that we can look at? I mean, we're an agrarian society when we started, right? We had strawberries, we had oranges. A lot of that land doesn't get converted. What can we do with it intelligently? And then we can take that and look at public transportation. How can we make sure that when we build a place, they can easily get from here to there and maybe take some of that off the road? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Musick. Thank you. Moving on to our second question that deals still with affordability. Mr. Troutman, how will you balance the need for new development with the importance of preserving existing neighborhoods and green spaces? And what role will zoning and land use reform play in your strategy?
There's a concept that you can read about or Google about that's known as the 15-minute city. I'm not saying that all parts of that need to be embraced, but there are aspects of that concept that could make Lakeland not only more affordable, but also preserve the existing structures that Mr. Walker is speaking about. The concept essentially means that every neighborhood, every commercial corridor has its own unique identity. And within 10 to 15 minutes, you can have the most of your necessary services within that demographic. Now, liberty can be tamped down in some people's minds with a 15-minute city. It does not mean that you cannot go to other neighborhoods, that you can't go across town. But it does mean that you don't have to spend a lot of time in your car, and we can make those strategic changes to those green spaces and those buildings that we need to create or what have you. So 10 to 15-minute city concept is what I would look at implementing.
Thank you, Mr. Troutman. Ms. Kim, shall I repeat the question for you?
Please.
Yes.
I'm a little scattered right now.
That's okay. How will you balance the need for new development with the importance of preserving existing neighborhoods and green spaces? And what role will zoning and land use reform play, of course, in your strategy?
Okay, so utilize what we have. We have Polytech in Lakeland. There are people there studying civil engineering and environmental engineering. Bring them in. Sometimes we need out-of-the-box thinking, and the younger generation may have these ideas that we haven't even thought of yet. I love my green spaces. I want to be able to still hike and enjoy the wildlife there. That is something that is extremely important to me. So we may have to look beyond the contractors and people that we normally talk to make something like this happen. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Stop there.
Thank you, Ms. Gill. Ms. Musick, shall I repeat the question?
Please.
Okay. How will you balance, again, the need for new development with the importance of preserving existing neighborhoods, of course, and green spaces? And what role will zoning and land use reform play in your strategy?
Yeah, thank you. You know, and I heard the majority of the mayoral conversation, and it came up quite a bit, and that's neighborhood associations. That's one of the strongest things that we have to be able to help keep those community ties tight. So having them at the table when we're talking about developing or potentially developing in their neighborhoods, having them at the table I think is huge. I don't live on this side of town, so what you need, want, love, and care about is different than what I need, love, want, and care about. You know, so having you at this neighborhood talking about it, and we have them all over. So I think that's one of the biggest things. Would you mind reading the second part of that question if I have a few seconds?
Yeah, again, you got 20 seconds left. You know, what was your role in zoning? What would you do in your role with zoning and land use reform?
Yeah, and zoning, I mean, again, we're here to set policy, so some of the things we're going to be able to do, some we're not. And sometimes just saying, no, we're not going to develop that. I think that's important as well.
Thank you, Mr. Musick. Now, moving on, as our time is of essence here, and I want to get to some more. Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. Please forgive me. They hitting me with time. Get there. And I'm trying to get there. Please forgive me, my brother. All right, go ahead, Mr. Odisho.
All right.
You got a question?
No, I think I got it.
Okay.
So I think it's really important to pay homage to the districts, right? This district is predominantly African American, right? We need to respect the history and the identity of these individual neighborhoods. We need to do more to preserve that, right? So architectural standards, landscaping standards, they need to be improved. They need to be, I think we need to get to the point where these standards are custom, because it does help, it does help maintain pride in your neighborhood. As far as the zoning is concerned, I have driven past numerous neighborhoods where all of a sudden we have warehouses popping up, which absolutely makes no sense to me, right? I mean, rather than a warehouse, how about a neighborhood market or a place where people can rally and come together and meet their neighbors? I'd like to see much more of that.
Thank you, sir. Now, and I'm pushing, I'm sorry, because I'm trying to get to a certain time here to allow you time for closing and that kind of thing as well. Second question, before we move to some audience questions. And audience, if you have any questions you want to ask, index cards, you can raise your hand and I'll give them to you so we can make sure we get those questions asked. Let's talk about infrastructure and utilities for a moment here. And I'll start, of course, as I did last time with, I think it was Mr. Troutman. I'm going to start with Ms. Kiel. You ready? Okay. How do you plan to ensure that essential public safety infrastructure such as fire stations and emergency services keeps pace with Lakeland's population growth?
Find a lamp, rub, genie pops out, ask 3 wishes. We are playing catch up, and unfortunately there's not much we can do now to stop the growth of the last 3 or 4 years. Like it was mentioned, the firehouse that still needs to be built on the north side. I know funding, I'm getting confused with the question now. I don't know if funding is an issue with it. This is something I probably have to look more into. But yeah, we're playing catch up, so I don't know if there's much I can, or we as the commission can implement immediately to rectify that situation. But I'm all ears. If you know, tell me, and I will ask. I don't know a lot. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I don't have any shame in that.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Musick. Again, how do you plan to ensure that essential public safety infrastructure, such as fire stations and emergency services, keeps pace with Lakeland's, of course, growth as it has been?
Yeah, it's gonna take money. That's really what it's gonna take, right? And we as a commission for the last 4 years that I've served has kept the millage rate at the same level, right? Your property taxes from a percentage have not raised. What has is the value of your home has gone up, so you might pay a little more because of the value in your property, which is an asset. But that's going to be a difficult thing in the future that we have to look at. When you have as many people come in as you do in such a short period of time, we are going to be behind, and that infrastructure is difficult. But the city manager, the city attorney has gone out, they've found the property, they're buying it, we're looking constantly in the future. We have agreements with the county to also have some crossover where we service and they service in the same areas to help. But Kimberly's absolutely right. We are behind, and we need to constantly have that on the forefront, because if we're safe, we're safe. If we don't feel safe, nobody's going to want to be here. And if nobody's going to want to be here, it doesn't matter if we give homes away. Thank you.
Mr. Odisho. Same question. You have it? I can't repeat it. Yes, I sure will. How do you plan to ensure the essential public safety infrastructure is in place, such as fire stations, emergency services, and it keeps pace with Lakeland's fast growing? Go.
First of all, I think we need to keep up with our impact fees. The city hasn't raised impact fees in over 13 years, missing out on potentially millions of dollars that support what? Infrastructure. And if they're not paying them, guess who's paying them? Us. So we need to keep our finger on the pulse of the growth. And, even the CRA plan, Community Redevelopment Agency plan, basically tells you where we're headed in the city. It took almost 10 years to be updated. Where were we? This is important. If we can't keep up with the growth, we can't hire more police officers. We can't hire more firemen. And it's a public safety issue. And it affects me, it affects Ashely, Marie, Mike, and all of you. If your house is on fire and we don't have enough fire stations or trucks, and I live in the Southwest District, we're facing the same things. I just spoke with the president of the firefighters union recently this week, and the response times, they're not lining up with where we should be, right? So it's time for us to really take public safety seriously and start investing in it and making sure we're monetizing what we can with people that want to do business in our city.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Troutman, same question, of course. I will repeat it. How do you plan to ensure that essential public safety infrastructure, such as fire stations and emergency services, keeps pace with Lakeland's continued population growth?
There's no question that it does take money, as Mr. Musick has stated, and also Mr. Odisho. But we have to be sensitive to that balance that we strike with impact fees and increasing those impact fees that we have, because we don't want to run off the development that we can extract. However, a combination of generating more revenue essentially is a part of that conversation, but then also how can we make some strategic cuts along the way in the budget to push some more dollars towards what is the most important part of public service, which is public safety. So those are the two things I would be looking at. How do we balance the revenue piece of it, but then also are there opportunities for us to carve off somewhere so we can put something in prioritizing. Lastly, I'll say, since we're talking about fire and emergencies, we have to make sure we're triaging properly. Where are the pain points in the growth of our city? Is it southwest? Is it northwest? Is it northeast? And make sure that we are targeting and aiming our resources towards those communities.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to try to do at least one or two more questions that have been come from the actual committee before we go to the public questions, if I could, because of time's sake. One definitely we will ask, and starting with you, Mr. Musick. The city's public utility, Lakeland Electric, is a vital revenue source. What is your strategy to protect this revenue stream and ensure its continued contribution to the city's general fund while maintaining competitive rates for our residents?
So I want to make sure I understand the question. Can you read the first part of that to me?
The city's public utility, Lakeland Electric, is a vital revenue source. Now, what is your strategy to protect this revenue source and ensure its continued contribution to the city's general fund while maintaining, of course, competitive rates for residents?
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. There was a lot there for me to pull on. You know, the Lakeland Electric is such a jewel, right? When you look at and I've been on the Electric Commission. Yep, they have. I apologize. My brain is, as I warned earlier.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's your time. Take your time.
On our ballot coming up, there is something that we're going to have that's going to make it much more difficult for us to sell Lakeland Electric. That's going to be number one, right? That conversation comes up every now and then about selling the commission, and that's an asset that I would not be behind selling for any price. Second of all, keeping our prices being on the utility committee, we do get to analyze all the time what are the local rates that everybody else is paying, and we are where we want to be. Because I will tell you, if you aren't in the Lakeland Electric service area and you try to call your provider, you're going to have a difficult time. We do not have that in the city of Lakeland, and you can reach out to me or any of the other commissioners if you're having issues. You're not going to be able to do that if it's TECO or Florida Power or any of the others. So that's it. It's keeping control.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Moving on. Mr. Gill.
Okay. How to protect it? Wrap it in bubble wrap. It's not going anywhere. I know how important Lakeland Electric is to the city of Lakeland, and if I'm not mistaken, it also subsidizes our police department. So yes, it's not going anywhere. I'm happy with my rates. I have friends in Winter Haven that for a 2-2 apartment are paying $400 a month in electric. No. So Lakeland Electric's not going anywhere. We would do whatever we can to protect it. I hope I get elected so I can sit on the utility commission. I'd be thrilled to learn about that. That's all.
Mr. Troutman, do you repeat the question, sir? This one. Okay. Let me repeat the entire question of both you and Mr. Odisho over here. The city's public utility, Lakeland Electric, is a vital revenue source. What is your strategy to protect this revenue stream and ensure its continued contribution to the city's general fund while maintaining competitive rates for our residents?
The first thing we have to do is we have to make sure that we are at the table with our state delegation here in Polk County. Gainesville, because of their abusive use of their utility dividend, has caused the state government to start impeding upon the local government's decision on how they operate the electric utility. So that's the first thing we have to do to protect it. Is we need to make sure that the state delegation is aware of how important our utility is for our community and why it's important for us to continue to maintain control of it. The second thing we'll need to do is continue to invest in the technology, support our GM and his staff with innovation and technology that they're looking to explore on how we produce our own power. We're looking at some new innovative ways to do that. We're gonna need to continue to invest and be thoughtful about how we produce power going forward, so we can keep rates low and protect the utility.
Same question again. Do I need to
And
repeat
to
this?
Ashely's response, he's right. You know, Lakeland Electric just did something really cool, right? So a solar power farm would take up dozens and dozens and dozens of acres. So we now have, coming soon, a beta site which uses geothermal electric production It's cheap, the footprint is less than 1/4 of an acre, it powers over 5,000 homes. Now this is the type of thinking that we need. Why it took so long, I don't know, but it's here, and I thought it was a fantastic decision by the city and Lakeland Electric to enact. That's the type of thinking that we need.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go move to the audience questions that we call the second part of this evening forum, because we got quite a few. Many did not get asked, of course, the last time with the mayoral race. We will try to get a few of these asked, of course, this evening. Starting with you, Mr. Musick. How will you support and keep the diversity of our community strong and equitable? How will you support and keep the diversity of our communities strong and equitable?
Well, diversity is what makes you stronger. And I go back to the neighborhood association. So how do we keep ourselves diverse? We keep ourselves diverse by being diverse, by not looking and trying to take something and make it homogenized so that it's all one fits for everybody, because that's not the case. What works for me does not work for you. But yet, doing that in a bowl where we all live, right? So how do we take and create something that is going to be for generations to come, while at the same time not taking it and mixing it all together? I think when I was a little kid, right, I went to Duff's restaurant, and the restaurant had all those little compartments, right? We're all on the same tray together, but I don't want my baked beans and my peas and my coleslaw all touching each other, but we're all together. So I want to be together. I want us all to be together. And I see people in this group that they don't live in my neighborhood, and we love each other. And we have a great relationship. That's what we need to do, is we've got to take the diversity, identify it, acknowledge it.
Yes.
I'm done.
Mr. Odisho, we're going to move it there. Mr. Odisho, same question. How will you support and keep the diversity of our community strong and equitable?
Yeah, so diversity is key, right? So every one of my projects is like its own little ecosystem. You've got 30 different trades, hundreds of men and women from all walks of life, and it's really important that when we're solving problems, you get different perspectives, and that's what diversity brings, right? So in my industry, maybe in the last 10 years, you've seen a major influx of women in the industry, which you've never seen before. Not only have we become smarter, but we've become more efficient in how we work too. Plus, I mean, the de-escalation techniques, women don't get wrapped up in the small stuff. Like a lot of them, we're solving problems. So it's extremely important to me. I enjoy hiring women because they come with a built-in chip on their shoulder, right? Because this is a business of men, but it's changing rapidly, and all it's done is made us that much better. It's key, and we need to embrace it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Troutman. Same question. How will you support and keep the diversity of our communities strong and equitable?
Diversity in our community has to be celebrated. That's how we keep it strong, and that's how we keep it equitable. When people see people that have their background, their story, their thoughts, their experiences promoted or welcomed into an environment, that's how we keep diversity strong and equitable. When we also make sure that we are sitting down across the table from each other and being mutually respectful about the opinions of other people, is how we keep diversity strong and equitable. It's the quiet places, it's in the low places where diversity is built to be strong and equitable and becomes a wellspring that defines a community.
Sir, Ms. Kim, same question. How will you support and keep the diversity of our community strong and equitable?
Be involved. If I don't know who you are, then I can't help you. Be involved. Get involved in your community, your neighborhood associations, the different festivals and downtown happenings. Be there. Be with everyone and learn something new. Going to Germany, going to another country. Sweet Caroline, it's not bop, 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 it's whoop, whoop, whoop. Just saying. Broaden your horizons. And if you are not feeling like you are represented or included make yourself known, run for something, join something. Please.
Mr. Music, same question. How can you support and keep the diversity?
Do I get to answer this question twice?
Oh, I'm sorry. We started with you.
I started, sorry about that.
No, thank you for helping me. Now, let's go with Mr. Troutman. Another audience question. What are your plans for our youth, young adults to stay, invest, and commit to Lakeland?
That goes back to the enhanced quality of life piece. Young adults, unlike myself, they typically want to identify a community that is cool and attractive. That's the enhanced quality of life aspect. What I propose that we do is make sure that we are a community that is embracing our small businesses. People need to understand that the small businesses are the one that makes a community desirable. It's those unique experiences that you can only find in that neighborhood, that you only can find in that city, that makes it attractive. And if we have those opportunities, if we make room for opportunities like that, those young folks will want to stay here, and then they'll find a job. It's how I propose that we go about doing that. It's a customer service aspect to that I can go into a little bit more on, but it's all about being supportive of small businesses and making it a desirable community.
Amen. What are your plans for our youth, young adults to stay and invest and commit to Lakeland?
Definitely the internship programs are awesome. I learned about them at the RP Funding Center, the ones that we have in the city. That's incredible. Keep that up. The PAL program for kids to learn trades. Our Polytech folks, get them involved in solving problems of the city. If they come up with a solve, they're going to want to own it. They're going to want to stay here and maybe improve upon it. Give them some ownership of the city, and they'll want to stay.
Mr. Music.
Thank you. And it's really about making it attractive. What is going to attract the youth? What's going to make them want to stay here? So many of us, what happens? We graduate high school. We were all younger once, right? We graduate high school. We go to college maybe, and then we go away. Maybe we stay in the college town we were at because that's where we had fun. It's what can we do in the city of Lakeland to draw them back? And it is business. It's small business. It's medium-sized business. It's high tech. I mentioned I'm in the trades. So it's finding each piece of the puzzle that attracts the individuals that are all different. Your kids are different than mine. So how can we have a potpourri of things that are available for everybody to have a desire to come back? What makes it attractive? And that's it. And I think internships is wonderful, both as small businesses. The city of Lakeland does this as well. But anything we can do to look and say, come here and come back and stay.
Thank you. Mr. Odisho.
Question again, please.
What are your plans for our youth, young adults to stay, invest, and commit to Lakeland?
All right, so we got to start them early. So I serve as a director on the board of directors for the Police Activity League. I recently helped negotiate the design-build contract for our new facility. We have to get them while they're young. We have to show them what it means to be part of the community. A lot of these kids don't grow up with a mother and father in the house, so we need to supplement that. It's no different than me. You know, when I moved here 21 years ago without family, other than my 10-year-old son, I have no other blood relatives here. So I lean on my community. I find people that I relate to, somebody who can potentially play the role of a grandfather or a father or a sister, some people that you can lean on. And we need to encourage that type of behavior and not only activities, but organizations for these people to come together and start really young.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Moving right along now. Mr. Mike Musick, we start with you. How will you balance your personal work employment with the responsibility and role as a commissioner? This is the last question from the audience because of our time. How will you balance your personal work employment with the responsibility and role as a commissioner?
Yep. So I currently do that, and you know, God's timing is correct. And when it was time for me to run, I was involved on the Planning and Zoning Board, the Historic Preservation Board. I had done that in 20 previous years, but it wasn't time yet to become a commissioner. When the time came right, I asked my dad, who at the time was in hospice with cancer, and I remember asking him, and he was a teacher his entire life. I remember asking him and saying, "Hey, I think I want to do this," and he looked up at me and said, "Why?" And I said two things. One, I have kids here, and I want the city to be as good as it is for me, and then better when I leave. So how do I balance that? I have my own business, and the timing is right. I have surrounded myself with excellent people, and I can miss the time at work because I have the backbone at my office to be able to give me that leverage, because it does take a tremendous amount of time.
Mr. Odisho, how will you balance your personal work employment with the responsibility and role as a commissioner?
So I've got a lot of bandwidth, horsepower, and energy. I love this stuff, you know. When I first ran, I knew it was going to be tough, and some of the things I've said regarding development, I mean, I've gotten some nasty emails and messages, which don't bother me because I was born and raised in the construction industry, you know, and I've been doing it for a very long time, almost 30 years now. So it's kind of like muscle memory to me. And I work for a very large international construction management firm with a ton of resources, and as director, my presence on the site is required maybe once or twice a week. So a majority of the time, I'm either in Lakeland conducting my business remotely, or I'm on site. So I definitely have the time, I have the energy, I have bandwidth and horsepower, and I'm ready to do it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Troutman, same question again. How will you balance your personal work employment with the responsibility and role as a commissioner?
My life works like a dance. It's a lot of syncopation and rhythm built in it. I'm up at 3 a.m. every morning. I read my Bible. I study coursework related to my professional industry. I set appointments that are controlled by my calendar. I will be looking to do the same rhythmic approach to how I've always lived my life in all the roles that I have occupied across this city, and I continue to do that same thing as a commissioner. I'll add, however, dedicated office time where people I can be accessible to people along in that dance of life that I am looking to balance. Plus, I'll also talk with Mayor Munson how he also did it as well.
Go to the source and find
Yes,
out.
Ms. Kim.
Okay. I'm like a jacked up red panda on Red Bull. I find a way to get it done. I'm a single mother that worked 3 jobs for years. All through this campaign, I've been working 6 days a week at Chili's because the voiceover and the band was not providing the funds. I make it work. I've known how to make it work my whole life. Will I still be at Chili's if I get elected? Probably. I still owe my 401k money because I had to take a loan out for dental work. I will make it work, people. I understand you, you understand me, and if we don't, we'll talk it out over some coffee. It's fine, it's fine. I'll find a way to make it work.
Well, thank you all for, of course, questions have been asked of you and sharing your answers as you thoughtfully have done, hopefully, with our audience here. Now we're going to move on to 1 minute each, closing statements, starting with you, Mr. Troutman, and we move forward.
Hashtag it.
That's a good start with me.
That's what I'm starting with.
I'm not
Be ye also ready.
ready. Thank you for your time tonight. It has been a pleasure to be here with you. Someone asked me recently, Ashely, what are your campaign promises? And I simply shared with her that my promises are the only things that I can control. And that promise is that I will be transparent and accountable, that I will also be responsive and available, and I will work diligently on the task that I have been assigned, and I'll work with a lot of energy with my work ethic. That's what I'll be promising. That's what you'll be electing if you choose to elect me on November 4th as your next Southwest City Commissioner for this season.
Thank you, Mr. Troutman. Ms. Kim.
Thank you again for having us all here this evening. Even as a performer, this is still scary as heck to speak to you and ask you for your vote. This was never on my bingo card. This was not something that I thought I'd ever be doing. But I love this city. I want to represent the people that don't feel heard, that don't feel seen, and just give the city a different perspective. Y'all are doing a great job, but let's make sure we're listening to everybody to make it the city we all love to be in.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Musick.
Thank you. You know, what do they say? You know, if perfection is the mark, I will miss it all the time. But I have spent the last 4 years at the City Commission working as hard as I can for the entire city, right? Maybe it's a particular district that we're representing, but it's the entire city. And I admire to no end anybody that's willing to sit up here and do this. It is difficult. From out there, it may look like it just rolls off our tongue, but man, I'm not a performer, right? So for me to get up here and try to think about, okay, can I get the words to march out and mean what I want them to mean? But I have worked very hard the last 4 years. We talk about public safety. Public safety, I recently have gotten the endorsements of both the fire union and the police union. They know that I've done a good job. The city of Lakeland knows that I've done a good job. My opponent knows that I've done a good job. I will continue to do a great job, and I appreciate everybody being out here. I appreciate all those that set it up. Thank you very much.
Mr. Odisho.
Really appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I'd love to see more civic engagement. We've got commissioners that have done 2 terms unopposed. We need people like us. If you're in this audience, it can be you the next time it's here, right? I don't belong to a party. I'm not financially backed by a PAC or a committee. I'm obligated to you. Nobody's going to decide how I vote, but you. And what I want to do by social media is present graphics. I want to show you how I come to my decisions, removing ego, opinion, emotion, and relying on subject matter experts, data, facts, and statistics. It's how I work. It's how I sleep at night. I'm running because I believe in this city. I don't even want a salary. The city can take the 34 grand a year and divide it among 4 nonprofits every year of my term if I'm elected. Now, if that doesn't show you that I'm serious and I'm doing this for all the right reasons, I don't know what will. But my heart is in it. And I want this bad, and I want to represent all of you. Thank you.
All right, audience, let's give a good round of applause to all our candidates. Come on, give it up. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Let's remember some things, please. Election dates to remember, registration deadline to vote in this election is October 6th. Vote by mail. Request deadline is October 23rd. Early walk-in voting